Have you been waiting for a new Fortnite Ballistic map? Well, I've got just the news for you. The new map Hammerfall, which is going to be a shell map, it will be available on April 8th. This will be the second map after Skyline, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with the gameplay and how they listen to community feedback, and hopefully no additional bugs. So I'll break down what you need to know. Now there's a bit of a caveat. Hammerfall will initially launch as one of the shell maps they're talking about. This means the core layout will be there, but the environmental art will come later. Think of it as a bare bones structure with a more visual polish. The reasoning is they want to gather feedback on the layout itself, which from a development perspective makes sense for iterative design. That way they don't have to make multiple versions that no one really likes. Since we only have the one image, I've used AI to try to add some textures to it, as well as try to extract some different views so we can see some more information. They mentioned verticality, but as I'm looking at their map, it's not really actually looking too vertical. There's a lot of surfaces that could look like you could go on it, but they don't make sense to actually travel there. A lot of this looks kind of standard, like there's a lack of windows that overlook the pathways, but there's still a lot they can change leading up to the release. The current target for Hammerfall's release is April 8th with the 34.20 update. So mark your calendars if you're excited, but remember not to get your hopes up. Moving on to weapon balance. This update brings adjustments to a few key weapons. The hammer pump shotgun sees a slight increase to its fire rate and a significant boost to point blank damage. The intention here is likely to solidify its role as a high risk, high reward, close quarters option. So expect to get surprised by it often. The Frenzy Auto Shotgun has received damage increases in both point blank and mid-range. This makes it an effort to make it a more reliable choice in a wider range of close quarter combat engagements. You're likely going to get rushed with this. The Thunderburst SMG has been buffed with a slight increase to both damage and fire rate. This might make it a more competitive option in the SMG category, though its overall effectiveness will still need to be decided. Finally, the Striker AR has had its damage fall-off range reduced. This means the effective range for maximum damage has been shortened, likely to encourage closer range engagements with the weapon, but realistically, just get the Nemesis, it's better. Next up, economy adjustments. The cost of the Reaper sniper rifle has been reduced by 200 credits, bringing it down to 4,500, which is going to help while being rushed by a team full of shotguns. Both the Striker and Nemesis have increased by 200 credits. So instead of being 2,500, they're now 2,700. This is likely done to create more of a mid-range tier with SMGs, because currently you either buy a shotgun or SMG or an AR. But there's already a solution to this problem by getting the Enforcer. The drum gun has seen a price reduction of 300 credits, now costing 3,200. This could lead to its more frequent appearance in matches. This is potentially shifting that close quarter meta that I was talking about. So in the early access development update, they provided some insight into the team's priority based on player feedback. The consistent demand was new maps, weapons, and gadgets. They were stating that it was their top priority. The introduction of Hammerfall is basically their first step here. Another key request has been for additional starter pistol options. The developers have confirmed that future weapon additions will include pistols available in the starting round, addressing AFK players. They also say this is another high priority for them, and a surrender option is currently being developed. They're targeting for an early summer release. So this should help alleviate some of the frustration that we see with the imbalanced matches due to inactive players or just not connecting. I think a surrender mode is important because we've all been in those games where the team just wasn't vibing and everybody just wanted to quit, and keeping the game going can just be toxic.
None of you know how to play the game. That's crazy.
Dude, you're one of the bottom fraggers. What are you talking about? While concrete plans aren't yet available, the team is exploring a more HUD customization options and improvements to the in-game inventory management. They are planning a change to better indicate which teammate has a Rift Point device, which is a small but potentially useful UI improvement. But more importantly, they mentioned crosshair options. Now currently, you can't color the crosshair, so you have a white crosshair, and if you're colorblind like me, it's very difficult to see. So allowing us to change our crosshair would be huge. So hopefully that one's going to be added soon. Finally, a significant focus is being placed on improving the first-person feel and the core weapon handling, aiming to reduce hitches and ensure a smoother overall experience. This is an ongoing effort that will likely see continued refinement in future updates. But if anyone can do it, I'm pretty sure Epic can. They just need to see the potential they have here and divert more resources to it. Just release a skin. I'll fund the whole thing, I'm sure. And then some. They have a bunch of bug fixes and gameplay tweaks. So some of the key highlights were that the bubble shield will now collapse if it takes 600 damage before the 6-second time limit. So basically you can break that shield now by doing damage rather than having to wait the full 6 seconds, which I think is a great addition. So you can just out DPS a push because it is too strong. If you got 5 people rushing B with shield, you can plant every single time, and there's very little they can do about it. The Recon grenade can now be destroyed, and enemy Recon grenades will now pulse red. The smoke grenade now deploys more smoke quickly. There was a delay in how long it took to actually cover the area, so if you're trying to rush and you smoke, you have to throw the smoke, then it triggers, and then you have to wait a little bit longer, which kind of slows the whole process down. So this looks like it'll give it some more use. They fixed an issue where players were not notified when tagged by a Recon grenade. The original updates would highlight everything around your hands and gun red, which they removed. This is adding it back in. I really like that. That was helpful. They said they fixed mantling issues. Maybe now I can peek over the wall without accidentally jumping to my death. So that's the breakdown of the Fortnite Ballistic version 34.20. This significant weapon balance adjustments, possible meta change. Hammerfall should be a good test to see how they handle community feedback. Because ultimately, that's who you're selling skins to. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in more information like this, consider liking and subscribing.